Okay, so we are now first step into recreating this Google Doodle Mbira, in which we have these little circles coming from the top of the screen, and then if I put my mouse over the bar, it will make a sound. Okay, so I have now the circles coming from the top in a specific place, one of these 8 spots that I put in this array of drops. So now let's make some bars here. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to use a for loop. So if you've been following along with these other tutorials, I've covered that in a few different ones. So do for plus. Okay, so remember, for loop is like a counter, so it's going to allow me to make several things without having to write the code for each one. In this case, I'm going to make a bunch of different rectangles. Okay, so a for loop, let's see, I need first to make the counter a variable, which I'm going to call I. So let I equal 0. I is less than 8, because I want 8 bars for this project, and then I plus plus, so it adds to the counter here. Okay, in this case I'm going to make a rectangle, and that rectangle, I'm going to have 8 rectangles in all. I'm not going to make them sort of like shaped like the tines on the Mbira. That's going to be a bit too complicated. I could, but just to keep this quick. Okay, so I'm going to start it off. Now the idea being is that I'm going to move each rectangle a little distance across the canvas here. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to start it at I, and then I'm going to multiply that by basically the width divided by 8. Okay, and I can make a variable for that. I'm going to be a little lazy and not do that. So I'm going to start, the rectangle is going to go at the top, and then the distance, I'm going to move it. The width of each rectangle is just going to be the width divided by 8, since I'm going to have 8 in total. And then I'm going to make it go down 300. Okay, so you'll see what the idea is. Okay, so there we have it. All right, so very quick and easy here. I made 8 rectangles that split the entire equal length of my canvas, which is 400 across. And now if we just kind of watch this circle go by, notice it stays directly in the middle of each one. It's not kind of off to the side. It's always coming down in the right place. And that was sort of why I made the decision to do this here. Okay, one thing I wanted to do just to keep it a little more consistent, I'm going to do like a brown RGB value, because I wanted to give it a bit more of like a wood color, I guess. So I'm going to go in here, just searching up RGB values here. I've looked at this before. I sort of like this goldenrod, or this Peru, maybe I'll go with. I'm going to go with that Peru. So I'm just going to copy and paste this RGB value here, go into here, and then fill that value. Okay, so now I have sort of this brown. Maybe I will change the color of my circle here. I don't know, maybe I'll go with like a blue, I guess. Let's do that. Okay, so now I have this blue circle. Okay, so we are definitely getting somewhere. So now I have sort of the tines of my Mbira. I have this ball that's going to cross this line. Okay, but now I want something to happen is when the mouse is in the correct spot here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I need a if statement. Okay, so if, and this is going to be inside because it's going to apply to all my different rectangles here. So I'm going to do if equals, okay, so if, in this case, mouse, do it inside, all right? There's going to be a very, very compound conditional statements here. So if x is greater than, I believe this is what I want. Okay, so if it's greater than I times the width, so again, that would start at 0, and then it would be 1/8 of the width, and then 2/8 of the width, okay? If it is greater than that, so I need and, so compound conditional here, and mouse x is less than it's actually now going to be this. Okay, so that the starting point of each rectangle, but I'm going to put that in parentheses because I then need to add the width of the actual rectangle, which is this, the width divided by 8. And again, I could have probably put that in a variable, but at this point I'm this far along, so I'm going to wait. So if it's between any of the bars, right? But that's not all I want to do. I want to make this a little more complicated here. Not complicated, but so I'm going to go down, and I'm also going to make the mouse y. So if mouse y is greater than, what I want it to be is, I have to be below the line in order for this to work. That's how I want to set this up. So I want to be below to the line, which is 250. So if mouse is greater than 250 and mouse y is less than 300, okay? So where am I getting this 300? I'm getting a 300 from the length of the rectangle, okay? Oh, I guess I don't need that there. I will back this up here, okay? So this is basically setting me up for, and I shouldn't get an error message right now. So I'm setting myself up in this spot. So if the mouse is between this area here, so not if I'm up here, okay, I have to be below the line in between each one, okay? But there's one more thing that I need to happen, which is that when it needs to be in between this box, but also then something will only happen when the circle gets to that line. That is sort of the additional part that we have here, okay? So I need to add yet another condition to this, and that is when cy, okay, I have cy as greater than 250 here, okay? So when cy is greater than that, okay, is greater than 250, okay? So that is set up. So I'm not going to make any sound. I'm just going to see to make sure that this works. So I'm going to console.log. I'm going to write played, and then I am going to, I can do here plus, okay? So if I'm going to console.log, I'm going to have it write played, but then I'm going to write I, just so it makes sure I know which square I was in front of there, okay? So I'm going to say played, and then I can do this in quotes because it'll just write the word, but then plus I here. What don't you like? Oop, I got rid of something here. I equals that. So here we go. Okay, so it kind of starts off in the middle. So if I do that, you see over here in the console, it says I was on 5, doing that. Ooh, but wait, something is, boom. Okay, so now I can see that it's working in the right spot. So there it's 4, that should be 7, that should be 0, it's also 0, 0, 3, 2, 5. Okay, so now we are in business here. Okay, something, it's working. I have this condition that is met. I have the circle falling. So now in the next video, what I'm going to do is, instead of this console.log, I'm actually going to go through and have some sounds be made.